About times. We're going to get started with our traditional start. Now, this class again is one of the more difficult topics, so there's a lot of bravery in showing up to class. That's going to end up talking about things like moral injury or times you might make a little mistake or mishap in life. And so taking some time right now to connect with your heart and realize, what is for you, your why, and kind of connecting with that interconnectedness from last week's topic allows us to understand that what we do today is going to have a ripple effect in the world around us, the people around us. So, feeling good about that. And moving on to the 5-point check.
Hi, everyone. If you want to stay seated for the 5-point check, please feel free. Or if you feel like you just want to stand up to get a sense of self in the moment, please feel free. Moving to that 5-point check. Yes, Layla, thank you so much for sharing that today. The more we practice something, the more it becomes a habit and there for us quicker in the throes of life. So checking in with you today. Hello, body. Hello, breath. Hello, mind and thoughts. Hello, emotions, mood. Hello, energy. Seeing yourself as you're showing up in this moment, sensing yourself as you're showing up in this moment. And then if you want to do the half salute seated, you can do that in your chair, or if you want to come up to stand, if you were seated and want to get into standing position, greet your mountain pose for a round of a half sun salutation, landing into your feet. Whether you're seated or standing, you can still feel the weight. Maybe you're in shoes, you can feel your feet in the shoes. If you have socks on, feel the socks. If you're barefoot, feel the texture of the floor beneath you. And now listen to the breath. Let the breath guide you. One round of half sun salute. With an inhale, take your arms up any amount, stretch open. And as you exhale, gently bend your hips, bow forward towards the floor. On your next breath in, hands can rest to the shins or front of the thighs, lengthen out through your spine. Exhale back towards the floor, towards the earth. Really root, anchor your feet as you inhale, pick yourself up, that big breath of air lifting you up. Arms by your side. Exhale. Pause, breathe. And shifting to Laurel for our minute meditation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Julie. So close your eyes if that's comfortable, or a fuzzy gaze down. I'm going to sound the bells and we'll just have a quiet interoception moment of quietness. Thank you. Thank you. Now bring your awareness back to your feet, grounded to the earth, and awareness back to your room. And we're going to begin our class today with a little bit of discussion on my end, and then all of us sharing what it is difficult for us to look at. What is it difficult for us to have self-compassion around? What is difficult for us to have self-acceptance, kindness, compassion for ourselves? So we all have feelings of guilt. We're human, and some guilt is healthy guilt, which I'm sure you know of. Some guilt is healthy guilt, that it's an awareness of, oh, I need to make amends with someone. That wasn't good that I did that. An awareness of your part in something that didn't go well, which is good. Good to have that awareness and good to mend that. And then there are some other things that might be stronger, that you feel a sense of despair or remorse or shame. And then how do we come back, like Julie was saying earlier, to our heart, to this kindness of, I did the best I could in that moment with the knowledge I had. I did the best I could in that moment with the knowledge I had. Yes, as time goes on, you learn more. You gain more knowledge. You learn more about yourself. And you're healing wounds within yourself as time goes on. And so we want to encourage that reflection of self-compassion, of coming back to a kindness within you. Like I've said before, in a way, how would you treat a 5-year-old or your best friend, your loved one? So try to treat yourself that way, with that same gentleness, self-acceptance. And so that's a practice, like we've talked about. It's a practice of doing that. And sometimes we see things in our life or in the media that is kind of what we might say is vicarious trauma. We call that vicarious trauma, where you see things happening where you work maybe, or in your world, that you witness that, oh, my God, that's hard. That's hard to see. That's hard to hear. It hurts your heart. So that's when you need to take time to nourish you, like you would a plant. Do I need water? Do I need tending to? How do I nourish myself? In what ways do I nourish myself? I'd make a list. In what ways do I nourish myself? Like with the 5-point check, with guided meditation, with the yoga moves and breath that we learn. These are all tools. And some tools you resonate with, like Julie has said sometimes, and some you don't. But find your tools that help you to take care of you on a deeper level, to take care of you. So I'd kind of like to open it up now to what you have found that helps you to be more resilient, that helps you to come to your heart, or what things that are hard for you that we can address, that Heidi and Julie and I can help with. What are some things that are real sticklers? It's like, I can't forgive, or I can't give myself compassion, or I can't forgive myself. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all make mishaps. We're all in this together. And we really all need each other. So you've all been really wonderful about participating. So please, it's a little heavier, like Julie said, but it's necessary. It's necessary that we address the deeper feelings in life. And Julie or Heidi, if you'd like to share anything, you're more than welcome to. And if
Maybe
not,
I'll just share that as a parent, I think I always have a sense of like, I have to make decisions that like there's almost like no like wait, everyone's a winner. that gives me, there's a gray
Yeah.
zone where you don't know if you're making the right choice and who gets hurt more or has more hurt feelings. And so I think that's an area where,
That it's hard for you to have self-compassion, or what's challenging in that area for you?
Yeah, because it's like I'll go over in my head, like, did I do it right? Did I not make the right decision? There's some hurt feelings happen, but no matter what, there would have been type of thing. And then I'll just start thinking about it in the middle of the night or something.
Yeah, yeah. And an acceptance of, I did the best I could. It's
Mm-hmm.
coming back to it. There was not going to be a beautiful la-di-da, or what's that saying? There's not going to
Fairy
be
tale ending.
yes, yes, exactly, Julie. Exactly. That we're all doing our best, and sometimes it's just, we're doing our best, basically. Yeah, there was something in the chat here I wanted to look at. I had a bittersweet moment this past weekend, and I using the meditation techniques and yoga to help me through this time. I can find peace in doing these things. Wonderful. Acceptance that is okay to be anxious. Yeah, accepting it's okay to be anxious. Yeah, you're working with it, and that's what's important. Accepting all your feelings. Yeah. And instead of stacking the bad thoughts, I'm getting better at stopping and choosing to stack good things instead. Oh, yeah. What you focus on magnifies. It's true. What we focus on magnifies. And then Donna says, yes, that's the starting point, acceptance. Yep. And then Sandra is, it's hard to keep in mind that you can't always make everyone happy. Yes. Their happiness, their happiness ultimately is up to them. It's their choice. It's the choices they make. And it's hard to know that we don't have that supreme control, especially with children, our adult children or little children or loved ones. It's a hard reality to swallow, but it's a good acceptance of that. And then, let's see. As a parent, we make decisions, as we mentioned, and don't always have knowledge of which decision was best. Children, and even our grown children, don't always see that. I think they may focus on what they think I should have instead of could have with what was available with decisions. It's hard. Yeah. And then one last one here, Lisa. I used to toss and turn at night because my mind wouldn't turn off. I realized there wasn't anything I could do about anything in the middle of the night. Yes. So now I'm able to go to sleep without worry about anything. If I can't change it, why worry about it? Don't give it space in your minds. It doesn't pay rent. Lovely, Lisa. Lovely.
Yes, love that.
And then Erica, I have a habit of looking back at a situation with the knowledge and awareness that I have today. Right? You don't want to look back with the awareness you have today, because you've got to be kind to that person back there. You've got to be kind to her. So you say it can be difficult to accept that I did the best I could with the information I had at the time, giving myself credit for not being able to predict the future. Yes, we are not fortune tellers. And it leads me to have difficulty making decisions in the moment, worrying that I'll mess up about it in the future. I hear you. Yeah. Letting go of anger is hard. I want to let go of the energy it uses. Yes.
Yeah. You can, it can take time to let go of, of someone, but it only, it doesn't affect them. But logically you can see that it's not that, you're right to be angry or something doesn't affect the person, but it's about maybe just acclimating yourself to thinking about it when you feel in a 5-point check your energy is pretty good, just a short period of time, maybe thinking about the person in a compassionate way and like wishing the best for them. It doesn't mean you don't have a boundary. Can help over time, just like I'm kind of afraid of heights, but I've gotten used to certain situations where, I can go to the edge of my deck and look over, just because, okay, I'll just look over a little bit. I'll just think about it a little bit and ease yourself into thinking about, and then it extinguishes.
I'd love to just make a comment on the kind of flowing off of several of these, but especially Erica's. And Laurel, thank you for that allowance. So like, watch when we ruminate back or reflect back, be kind. When we look forward, be kind. there's a funny thing that happens to us, right? When we do classes like this, when we choose activities in our life that we take on to support ourselves in a healthy way, right? In a healthy way within our 5-point check, healthy for our body, healthy for our mind, healthy for our emotions, our energy, our breath. Oh gosh, and we can feel the, oh, I have all these tools and I didn't use them sometimes in life. And it's that sweet reminder to, yes, always reflect back on kindness, like be kind, be kind. Yes, I have these tools, but I'm also human. I am going to forget that I have the tools, or I am stirred up in emotions, or my nervous system is stirred up in a frozen way, or I flee the situation in my body, mind, that not able yet to grasp what might suit me. I mean, this happens to me a lot. And I get hard on myself sometimes. I'm like, oh my goodness, I teach yoga and mindfulness. I should on myself. Shouldn't I know better?
No,
Well,
no,
this
no,
lady
no,
said that,
no.
right? Yeah. And it's like, oh, awareness is the key. Awareness is the ticket. Oh, thank goodness I became aware that, right. Man, I kind of was, not anchored in self fully. Okay, my awareness, my presence is back. Okay, what do I need now? What do I need to do next? Okay, kindness, compassion for myself. Wow, that was a really tricky situation I just went through. How I acted or what it could have done better. Okay, well, what can I do? What can I do now? What can I do now? Whether that's I need to apologize or I need to take care of myself. I ran myself ragged. I'm too tired. I need to take 5 minutes of rest. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we have to find our way back to the now in order to get that wisdom, right? Of, well, what's next? What's next? Okay, what's next? And with
Mhm.
our theme today, it's like daring to look at the present to know what's next. Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah.
Would you like to lead us in the yoga now?
Oh, yeah. Unless anyone else has something yeah, there's some great comments. We'll kind of read through those too. So with that, we're looking at balance today. It's almost like how I shared. It's like, whew, we come in and out in our lives of, I'm steady, I'm stable. And then, oh, I'm not steady and stable. And again, it's all a practice. So balancing postures help us with that relationship to what it feels like to be steady or not steady, stable or not stable, balanced, not balanced. And the key is that we're in the ing part of things when we're playing. The ing is we're balancing, we're living, we're, playing with things. So we're active, we're verbs, we're alive. If we were balanced, that means we're just like, there's not going to be change. So balancing postures allow us to kind of play with change and what we can do for ourselves to kind of navigate that exploration as best we can, as Laurel said, as best we can with the knowledge we have now. The knowledge you have now with your body as you explore the shapes. The knowledge you have now as your nervous system finds its way. The knowledge you have now of is how your self-talk is while you're exploring, kind of coming in and out of these shapes. So with balancing, I'm going to just share here in the comments 4 things before we come up to stand. 4 things to kind of keep in your awareness today when you practice. So balancing postures. Think about your roots. So rooting down, the way you can connect down into your roots, into your legs, into your feet, to the ground, accessing a sense of stability as best you can. And we can't really rise up until we have our anchor and our roots. So The second part is like, once you're rooted, feel a rise, wherever that is, however small. Can you feel yourself rising? Whether that's up through the spine, energy into your legs, right? Your thoughts. And then the third part is scaffolding, because we can kind of root and we can rise, but then the scaffolding is this feeling tone of kind of where you play, holding yourself in that balancing act, right? You might feel that, in the muscle energy, the toning of your legs. And I like to say, like, skin, muscle, hug to bone, you scaffold yourself. You could also think of scaffolding as a literally something like a chair, a table, a scaffold next to you that you can hold on to for balance. So I have a chair that I'm going to use today. You might have something nearby that gives you that external sense of support as you also access that within you. And then the last part that we've been talking about a lot is the kindness, right? So kindness in your play and exploration, kindness through the self-talk. If you fall out of a pose, no biggie. Like, oh, I get to try that again. Navigate that with kindness. So if you are ready, I'm going to come up to stand. Just take a moment to greet your mountain posture once again. So in your mountain pose, just a quick flow through. Greet the rootedness of the shape, landing hips to legs to feet to floor. And then once you get a sense of feet landing towards the floor, can you feel any bit of rise up through the body? We're not trying to go for big, grand brush strokes, but is there just enough lift and rise? Yeah, I'm going to thank you, Laurel. I just saw you. I'm going to spotlight myself. There we go. Sometimes I forget to click that. I should have known better. No. Oh, when you're rooting and rising, there's this quality up and down of finding that bit of harmony and balance. Right? And now in mountain, the quality of scaffolding. As you root and rise, can you get a sense of just holding yourself steady? Not too much, just enough. Maybe you notice your legs toning a little more, your front back body holding you in a little bit more. And now kindness. Perhaps take a breath. A breath, for me, I find, always opens the door to a gentler feeling. Kindness, compassion. As you welcome your breath, on your next inhale, sweep your arms up like we do in our half sun salute, but we're just going to stay in mountain. As you exhale, sweep the arms down. We're going to do that 2 more times, so you can start to really get some energy moving into the body, getting into how the body feels as we move through the shapes. 1 more time. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up, reach high. And now exhale, arms down to your side. Feel free to keep your arms to your side or hands to your hips, or if you have a chair nearby, you can rest one hand on your chair. In mountain pose, notice your feet. Start to lift your heels, bringing weight onto both feet, the balls of the feet and the toes. And then let that be, lower the heels down. And then do that 2 more times. Lift and lower. Nice. Up onto the balls of the feet and lower. This last time, lift a little or a lot. So you're rooted into the toes, balls of the feet, but you're rising up through the body. Scaffold a little energy, muscle towards the leg bones. And then a little wobbly, I'm sure. My ankles are rocking around. But kindness as you take 2 more breaths. See how it feels to balance on your own 2 feet. And now exhale, lower the heels. And just let that be. That practice. Shake that one out. Great. All right, last week we did Warrior 2 with the Warrior series. We're going to do Warrior 2 again before we do a single legged balancing pose. So stepping your legs out wide, turning your right leg to face the side of your room. Your toes will face out to the side. Bend into that right knee. Right? And now sweep your arms out wide. Now we're on 2 legs, 2 feet, but can you feel if one leg wants to work harder than the other? And can you play with finding a sense of balance, right leg to left leg, any amount? Reach your arms out wide and now dare to look over your right hand. Standing here in Warrior 2, one more element of play if you'd like. Close your eyes for a moment. Whoa. If you need to, open your eyes again, but you might start to feel wobbly. Feel your feet rooted. Feel a rise up through your center. Last breath. Open your eyes, hands to hips. Straighten your right leg. Have those eyes open while you turn your legs the other way, bending into the left knee for Warrior 2. Getting a sense of, are my legs working in harmony together, or is one leg wanting to push and do all the work? Right. Land into your legs to the feet, root down, arms rise up and out to the side. Dare to look out over that left hand. Get a sense of that scaffolding, not sucking so hard you can't breathe, but there's just enough holding you up in the pose. And now kindness, if you like, close your eyes. From the inside out, there might be a little sway. Trust your feet. Open your eyes if you need to. One more breath here. And now open your eyes, hands to the hips, straighten your legs. Give yourself a moment to regreet mountain pose. Standing close to your chair if you like to use your chair today. All right. Now, with the energy of your legs, root down into your left leg, left foot. Getting ready for tree pose with your right leg lifted just enough that you can start to turn the knee out to the side. Keep the toes down for a moment. So both legs are down. Hands resting to your hips. Choose to keep the right foot down, or if you like, slide the right sole of the foot to the inside of your left leg. That could be lower to the ground, or you could lift it up higher. Choose a place to rest where overall the pose feels a little more comfortable. Yeah, there's effort. It's not over-forcing. There's balance. All right, now in the play of balancing, noticing left foot rooting down. Feel a rise up the left leg up into the trunk. Moving gently as you feel some scaffolding into that play. Whoa, coming into balance. And then kindness as you take 2 more breaths, exploring the shape without judgment, what's arising for you today. And now start to release your right foot. It might feel nice to be kind to your left foot. Give yourself a little walkabout. And now settling in for the second side. So right foot grounding down. Get a sense of that rootedness down through the right foot. And then turning your left knee out. You can start with the left toes down. Stay there for your tree. Or feel free to place the sole of your left foot to the right leg. Now root down through the right leg to right foot. Feel the rise up through the center of the body. With some scaffolding, can you sense even around your hips that you're just holding yourself up in the pose? And then the breeze might come along to move you in and out of the pose. Balancing. Stabilizing. Falling. Rebalancing. Kindness. One last breath. Releasing your left foot. Let it land. Give yourself a walkabout if needed. Okay. Last balancing pose to introduce is Warrior 3. Again, we greeted that last week. Today, I'm going to show you a balanced Warrior 3 or balancing Warrior 3 with a chair. And you're welcome to try this with me. Or like last week, free in the space that you're in, you can play with your warrior 3 without the chair. But if you have a chair nearby, stand close to it, the seat of the chair in front of you. Take a moment to bend into your knees and land your hands onto the chair. Get a sense of both legs grounding down to the floor. Rest weight into your right foot, right leg. Lift the left foot just a little bit so you can really feel the right leg picking up that stabilizing, supporting role. Now start to move the left leg back. Reach it back any amount. The knee can still be bent, or it might feel nice to lengthen the leg long, like you want to push the wall behind you away. Now noticing right leg rooted down. Feel the rise up into the trunk of the body, but then lengthen out through the spine. You could play with here, taking one arm out to the side, both arms out to the side, but the chair is always there if you want to keep landing into the chair. From here, take 2 more breaths, balancing on right leg, left leg lifted. And now bending the left knee, left foot to the floor, a moment to stand up. And then bend the knees, hinge the hips, come back in. Hands back to the chair, putting weight into the left foot, left leg. Get a sense of the body, feeling that left leg holding you. And now take the right leg, extend it back behind you like it wants to touch the wall behind you. Hands are accessories here. We're using them just enough to get a sense of balancing, rooting into left leg, rising up with some energy, feeling some scaffolding that you could play, release your hands. You can always come back to scaffold onto the chair. Kindness as you take 2 more breaths. And now releasing hands back to the chair. Right foot's going to step down. Knees gently bent as you stand back to your mountain. Taking a moment here to get a sense of mountain again. And that quality of the activity you just played in. Balancing side to side, coming in and out of the poses. Getting a sense of what it feels like to access a sense of stability and steadiness, even with the change of body finding its way. It's always a great reminder that in the play of balance, balancing, that's where we do find our strength. The in and out, the wobbles, the muscles, the joints, finding the work they need to do for you. Yeah. All right, friends, as you're resting in mountain pose, before shifting to Julie for a compassion meditation, I'm going to guide you through a short alternate nostril breathing meditation or breathing practice. You can do this practice using your hands, actually closing one nostril and then the other. But for today, we're going to do it more like a visualization, breathing, long, steady breaths, breathing up one side of the body and down the other. So first, access a comfortable breathing pattern for you. In order to access that, if you need to sit, please feel free to sit or stay in mountain. As you find a breath flow that feels smooth and steady, notice your right foot, right leg. And now as you inhale, imagine that the breath is coming up from the right foot, up the right side of the body, up the trunk, greeting that right nostril. And then as you exhale, as if you're breathing out the left nostril, imagine this line coming down the left side of the body, all the way down through the left leg, left foot. Now from the left foot, as if there was a straw coming up, inhale, breathe up the left side of the body, however you sense and notice it today. As you exhale out the right nostril, breathe down the right side of the body to the right foot. And get a sense of the right side of the body. Inhale, breathe up the right side of the body. Visualizing this energy coming up. As you exhale, visualize the left side of the body, trunk, leg, foot. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, left foot, noticing left side of the body to the left nostril. Exhale, right side of the body, noticing down through the right leg, right foot. Last time, inhale, right side of the body, all the way up. And exhale down the left side of the body. Noticing both feet, allow the body to just breathe, taking a breath in that feels comfortably full. Exhale out through the mouth. Allow the body to find a breathing pace that feels like your baseline here. Alternate nostril breathing, shifting the awareness in your mind back and forth has a harmonizing, balancing effect for our nervous system. And there are more techniques for that. But for now, just know that that visualization helped shift a little into the body, getting a sense of inner stability. Thank you, friends. Julie?
Thank you, Heidi. I love that you could actually do this anywhere, really. Standing in line, you could do that breathing or waiting to enter a patient's room. So many good options. So, I have a moral injury story. If we have time, I'll circle back to that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about support, your desire to do balancing yoga, despite the fact that it's kind of difficult and you might be like, it's a little unpleasant. Well, it turns out that that they did a study on older adults, and if they could balance just for 10 seconds, and pass the 10-second test, balancing on one foot, they're much more likely to survive, when they check back over the course of years. So, these are 51 to 75-year-olds, but, over time, if you keep up with balance exercises, there is a correlation with health and longevity. So I'm going to talk about shame and guilt. So some of the science, that's going to be sort of the instructions that lead up to the compassion meditation that we're going to do. So Charles Darwin, when he went all over the world in the 1800s, he actually did some kind of research that looked at facial expressions. Most people don't know about that, but he found that, there's a universal set of facial expressions across culture that was repeated by Ekman years later, but he also even looked at animals in different places, and we are the only ones that blush. No other creature blushes. That is the most human of the emotions in the sense that it's unique. A monkey will get mad, but they don't feel shame. So even we as humans don't blush until we're about 2 or 3 years old, because it requires awareness, and awareness of being observed, and a wellness that you did, violated a norm or did a little bit of harm, and you feel a little shame about it, right? Well, regret, as Laurel mentioned, can be something good, right? It means we have a conscience. It means we're human. It means like, oh, wow, I actually felt bad about, somebody being inconvenienced or hurt. That's a good thing. The myth, many of us who are older, I don't know if it's taught anymore because I'm not sure. I think it's, unsure and unproven whether it actually happened, but the George Washington, I cannot tell a lie, I chopped the cherry tree, right? That was put into, whether it happened or not, it was placed into his biography because it demonstrates good values. I made a mistake, I owned it, I did right, and that is considered almost like an ethical pedestal type of activity. So what we're doing here by daring to look, daring to feel, is actually something kind of heroic, where it takes a little bit of bravery, and it's a sign of a good character. The problem is with guilt is it feels like it can go on and on forever. There's often not like an endpoint into how we deal with it in our society. And in science, and it's defined different ways by different people in all different fields, but in science, neuroscience research, shame is defined as when other people are around, you feel bad. They saw what happened, or and you feel embarrassed and kind of ashamed. Whereas guilt is when you're by yourself and you feel like your conscience is kind of eating, right? There are different brain areas. And in particular, only guilt produced amygdala activation. And amygdala is a very emotional area of the brain, and it brings to you things like fear, anger. It feels bad to feel guilty. Everyone knows that, but science has shown it does activate the amygdala in the same way as like looking at a freaky spider. And it's freaky because we are afraid of our own sense of worth being diminished. Not only did we do something, that might have caused some harm, but we're like forever diminished and worthless or something, right? And so we fear looking at that guilt because it has such a personal aspect to it. And so there's an element about feeling bad about the other person, and that they might have been inconvenienced or hurt or whatever, but a lot of it is about our own feeling, about feeling bad or feeling fearful of our own, kind of like when we do look at something uncomfortable. So what do? We avoid, we try to push any thoughts about some of our mishaps out of our head. We rationalize and blame others, maybe do some kind of small token gesture that doesn't really fix things. Or we feel like, okay, yeah, they said, oh yeah, it's okay, and we feel forgiven, but we don't think about how to prevent it in the future. So whether we feel religiously forgiven or whether we feel like the person forgave you, like we don't think, okay, but what do I do in the future to prevent this? We don't add that extra step because it implies we have to look at it again, and we don't want to look at it. It feels uncomfortable. Or worst case scenario, live and let die. We stop, we try to diminish our sense of conscience about it. Or alternatively, we feel like we have to take on and be more like that guy, where we take on a sense of protracted guilt, and that it almost feels like you would feel guilty about not feeling guilty or something. So I'm going to give an example. The refrigerator drawer. Everyone perhaps has had some kind of experience about something rotting in your refrigerator, right? And so what happens with that? Okay, we're like, oh no, the salad, the lettuce went bad. I had planned to make salad, and I was going to eat healthier, and I wasted my money, and and then you don't even take it out of the drawer sometimes. You're just like, shut the drawer. I don't even want to look at it. And then what happens? It spreads to the carrots and the rutabagas or whatever. So we end up, our aversion to even, that feeling of guilt prevents us from sometimes addressing the circumstance. We take it so personally that we don't make our lives, we don't ease our own suffering or other suffering, right? Or, if anyone has ever been in a situation with a friendship where, someone does something and they feel bad about hurting the other friend, and then they disappear forever because they don't, and I, sadly, I did this to someone when I was quite, much younger, where, I felt really guilty about something, and, then I just kind of avoided the person. And so they were, they both had the bad experience and they were deprived of my friendship. And the same thing has happened to me, and maybe some of us have had that experience. So not addressing guilt can cause a lot of problems in our lives, and we shouldn't feel so bad, as Laurel said, because part of it is just that we have self-awareness, which is the reason why we have shame. Remember Charles Darwin and the blushing. is a new tool. And of course, as I showed the other week, the new tool can end up harming us if we don't approach it with some care. And reason why I show this terrible equation each time, it's because we can't just hope and wishful think our brain into dealing with guilt and such. We have to trick it a little bit, I think. We have to trick it by mixing it in with something positive. So right away, at the time that we recognize a mistake, boosting ourselves with, okay, you got this, we're going to get through this, it's good that you have a good value, it's good that you feel bad about this. And even sometimes the feeling bad could trigger some kind of, hey, this is a noble thing to feel bad about this. And infusing the bad feeling with rewarding feelings of like, it's good that I have a conscience. It's good that I'm aware of it. I'm going to do something about it. So that helps bypass this amygdala, and if you don't find a way to like sneak around that bad amygdala feeling, it might never get addressed. So the same thing happens with exercise, but we usually take exercise a lot less personally. But sometimes we know, hey, this exercise workout's going to feel terrible. I'm going to at times feel like really worn out or tired, but yet, we manage sometimes to power through sometimes, with that, or maybe we struggle with that too. But we can sometimes reward ourselves with some nice yoga or something after the workout, in the same way we can reward ourselves with some kind of relaxation after we decide, hey, my energy feels really good, I'm going to deal with this problem right now and see if I can make it more right in the future so that it benefits me and others. So instead of like just moping about how terrible I feel about the situation, I'm going to make it better. And that feels good. It feels kind of empowering rather than weighing you down so much that you don't do anything about it and harm starts scaffolding. That's the opposite kind of scaffolding. So then there's sort of a game plan. And actually, Heidi's sequence kind of applies to that. You root yourself and saying, hey, I'm doing a good thing here, right? My heart is in the right place. I feel bad because I have a good heart. I'm gonna, wait, what's after root, Heidi?
Rise.
Rise. I'm going to rise to the occasion, and the rise gets you over the bad amygdala feeling, right? And then you scaffold it like, you got this, this is noble and human to feel regret. You got this. You're a good person and you're making this, right? And you did the best you can with the situation, right? You're a growing person and you're going to make mistakes that everyone does. So, yay you for daring to look, and then you can apologize if it's the right thing to do. Check your intentions. Is apologizing actually going to make things worse right now? Make sure that you're doing it for them and not you. And then what can I do to prevent it in the future? So, knowing that, hey, this is great. Wow, I got past the bad feeling and I'm thinking about the future, right? So then, that can be quite empowering, but then also understanding that, the consequences might still play out in the future and you're gonna, feel bad again, and it's still gonna be mixed in with both noble and human to feel regret, but I'm still moving forward, right? And so, for example, you cause someone a mishap because you're late, and maybe you were in traffic, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I'm always late, I'm a terrible person, right? Or you can say, okay, well, maybe, I can set my alarm a little bit earlier so that I'm not late. Or you can make a game plan when you free up your brain resources to, instead of attacking you for how bad you were, like, oh no, wait, what can I do? I'm also going to note real quick that burnout syndrome, which we talk about in our self-care is not selfish class, also can incur mistakes. So one of them is emotional exhaustion. These are the 3 dimensions of burnout. You feel overwhelmed. Depersonalization, when you feel either numb or you start to get kind of angry at other people as a way of pushing away the uncomfortable emotions you just kind of push away. But mistakes and poor performance are part of burnout. So sometimes, again, what Laurel was saying, sometimes you were just doing the best you could and were overwhelmed. And sometimes the moral injury of feeling guilty about things that might not have even been your fault, that might have just been part of, hey, there weren't enough people, or I'm just one person and I tried my best, or, some circumstance, you can start to kind of process some of these things without being so hard on yourself. And again, doing these mindfulness practice elevates all the dimensions of burnout, including the sense of personal accomplishment and making mistakes. So addressing the burnout element, mistakes can cause burnout, and they can also exacerbate burnout. So I'm going to that later, but we'll do a brief little, very short compassion on that because we're kind of almost at the end of our class. So I just want you to just sit for a second, feel your feet on the ground. I want you to think of a really minor mishap that, maybe it was running late for something and someone was mildly inconvenienced, or, I was supposed to send a card. I wanted to send a sympathy card and I haven't sent it out yet. Something kind of like that. And imagine and bring it into your mind. If you feel, again, based on your 5-point check, that you're okay for this today. If you're really overwhelmed, don't do this exercise. But bring to mind a minor mishap and feel in your body, what it is, what that feeling of like shame or guilt kind of feels like in your body, or embarrassment, aversion. Notice what arises in your mind and body when you think about the little mishap. And say, you got this, I got this. Imagine kind of going through this. It's noble and human to feel this, this regret. And now think, hey, I'm a good person. I'm gonna make a game plan to, over time, this is gonna reduce. It's not gonna be like that, but I'm gonna, maybe find something to tweak to reduce that. Maybe you can do something like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gift shop and get a card. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say this to this person. And then pat yourself on the back, okay? It took a lot of bravery to look at that. It took a lot of bravery to think about what you're gonna do. And now notice, bring some awareness that if it does feel even a tiny bit good, water that. Water that with your watering can so that you really encode in your brain the fact that this is a worthwhile activity. And now it would be good to do a little mindfulness to conclude, stabilizing your mind. Feeling your feet back on the ground. Laurel?
Yes, thank you, Julie. Just feeling your feet back grounded to the earth, feeling the full weight of your body on what you're sitting, feeling the temperature of your next in-breath and your next out-breath, allowing your breath to anchor you into this present moment of whatever is showing up. Whatever feeling you're feeling now is okay. You're all okay. Just breathing, letting those feelings flow through you. Like the waves on the ocean, easy in, easy out. All feelings are valid. All feelings are welcome. They all have a message. Now bring your awareness back to your room. And slowly open your eyes when you're ready. Just notice how you're feeling and approach how you're feeling with kindness. Like, what do I need now after this hour spent together? Do I need just another minute of silence? Do I need some water? Do I need some food? You know, check in with yourself and see what you need. And then ask yourself what you're thankful for today. What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for the sun being out. I'm thankful for the food that I'm about to eat. I'm thankful for the warmth of my clothing on this cold day. So just ask yourself what you're thankful for. However little, I just saw a flower, the first green sprout, the fresh green color. Whatever it may be, just one thing that you're thankful for, or more, but at least one. And now, Julie and Heidi, would either of you like to go through the homework sequence, or we're going to be on the lookout, what we're going to be on the lookout for this coming week?
I'll put it up. And I also want to say that this is really a topic that blends very well with one's own personal spiritual works for you related to that. To put that there. For the homework, we're, again, that 5-point check, and noticing how your level of stress or burnout affects, these things like mishaps. In the face of perfectionism, how does it feel when you are kind to yourself? Hey, I'm doing the best I can. And then noticing social media and how that kind of vicarious moral injury or vicarious trauma that Laurel talked about affects you, as well as connecting with how to make the world a better place. And then finally, relaxation without guilt. Not feeling guilty when you take time for self-care is also a really important topic. It's not selfish. You're replenishing yourself. You're helping yourself be in the world.
And it's hard being in the world sometimes.
It is.
So we must replenish. Oh. And we have the poll up. Anthony just put the poll up. So this helps us too with our classes on tweaking them or changing them a bit with your answers, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, thanks for that and all the participation today.
Yes, it was lovely. Yes, we love to hear from you. Any questions before we go? We can always stay. We can stay a few more minutes. It's 1 minute before 1. And if you have any questions or want to share. Oh. No, again, thank you all. And our next Thursday is our last class in the 6-week series. So we hope that
we'll be integrating and how to keep things going.
Yeah. How to keep things going, exactly. What some challenges might be. Yep. Let's see. Most of you are leaving, and thank you for your thank yous. Thank you.